Привіт.
Так, усім привіт.
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 Чи чули мене?
Так, я чую тебе. Чути добре. We can hear you well. And you? Ти чуєш?
Так, але погано. Знову.
Знову.
Я не знаю чому.
Nigel,
Секунду.
can you hear well?
Так.
Joe, and can you hear well, Nigel, or just...
Секунду.
I hear Joe quite well.
Мгм.
I don't understand any of it because I'm a lousy Ukrainian speaker, but I can hear him fine.
Здравия, Оксана.
I am fine. I'm glad to be here.
Все добре.
Oh, so now connection is better?
Yes. Все
Oh.
добре.
Super. Так, so this meetup is going to be recorded just to let other students chance to learn from us and learn Joe's experience. I hope that might be inspirational for somebody. Ось. Так, I am glad you're here. So first we will start from the introduction of every one of you, yeah, and then we will have a talk with Joe. And during the class, you're welcome to join the questions, ask him whatever you might be interested about. This meetup will be in English, but if you want, you can try some Ukrainian. Okay. So, Claire, would you please be the first one to introduce yourself?
Дуже приємно. Мене звати Клер. Я нідерландська і я люблю Ukraine, слава Україні. And I'm looking forward to your talk. I'm really interested. Thank you.
Клас, дякую за українську, це чудово. We can speak English today, so feel relaxed. Yeah? Okay. Так, Кріс, привіт.
Hello, I will speak English. I'm Chris. I'm from the UK, Great Britain, whatever you want to call it, near Manchester. I've been studying Ukrainian for 10 months, and I'm looking forward to your talk.
Клас, дякую. Так, Стойкос, hello.
Tak, hello. I'm very happy to see you. I'm from Greece. I live in Thessaloniki, the second biggest city in Greece, in northern part of the country. I met a lot of interesting people from Ukraine in the last 10 years here in Greece for tourism. And I study with Oksana here with you the last 5-6 months Ukrainian language. And I'm very happy for this.
Супер, клас, добре. Так, Найджел, hello.
Ja, Shortland, yeah. I live in the USA. I'm living in the USA, but I'm Scottish. And I was studying with Oksana for a while, but I realized I was doing so badly that I thought I would try to do something on my own before coming back. That's the only reason I'm not, and also working a lot, Oksana. I want to continue at some point. Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Wonderful. Charlie.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm in Boston, United States. I am Oksana's probably newest and probably worst student, although I do make her laugh. That's important. I have a lot of friends in Ukraine, particularly in Lviv. I was in Lviv last week, Joe. We almost met last week. Didn't quite work out. But yeah, I was in Lviv and I'll be back. So can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Супер. Дякую. Так, Роман, hello.
You're on mute.
Hello, everybody. My name is Roman. I live in United States. I was born in Moscow, Soviet Union. And yeah, the current Russian-Ukrainian war, it affected me in many ways. All four my grandparents, they were born in Ukraine, and I have some relatives and friends who still have close connections to Ukraine, and I also have some relatives in Russia. So yeah, I followed closely all the developments, participated in many discussions, and I fully support Ukraine in the current war.
Mhm. Okay, thank you for your position, and I am glad you're here.
All right.
Так, okay, wonderful. So that's all of us. We are going to have a wonderful talk with Joe. And Joe, here we come to you. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, I won't bore everybody too much with too many details, but basically I'm 37 years old. I'm from the Philadelphia area. I'm Ukrainian by blood, obviously my last name. And I came to Ukraine in February. I went home real quick for a month, came back, and I started volunteering in Kiev. I helped clean up a lot of the damage that's still in the Kiev region, Irpin, Hostomel, Horenka. And also I got into doting and producing drones because I think that's one of the best ways that we can help the Ukrainian military achieve victory. I'm sure you guys heard what the drone warfare. It's really accelerating. There's absolutely a race to keep innovating here. Electronic warfare is very big. Kamikaze drones are very big. A lot of people here produce them. So I think it's really important to do such things. So right now, I had a good discussion with some frontline soldiers yesterday. And they said that with my drone, it's definitely on the right path. And I was talking to a drone pilot. I'm going to give them the drone tomorrow. We're just done tomorrow. We're just finishing the testing right now because this drone can carry 3.5 kilograms of bombs, basically. So we want to make sure it really is working properly because that could be really bad if you're flying over your own soldiers and something malfunctions. Because 3.5 kilograms is quite a lot. And the other thing that it does quite well that we know of is it does very well against electronic warfare. Russia has a lot of electronic warfare. They have a lot of drones. Despite what you might read in the media, they're very well equipped, and there's a lot of them. And soldiers will tell me that they often, they'll whittle down a unit, and that same unit will just keep replenishing and keep coming, and they'll, obviously take care of them during the when they attack. So Russia is going to use quantity to win this war. So Ukraine needs to have the best weapons, they need the best tactics, and they need to have a good morale. Thankfully, from what I hear from most soldiers, morale is very high. They do want to fight for their country, and they, in a lot of cases, have better tactics. Most cases, they have better tactics. It just depends on which unit is able to get the better weapons. So, I mean, the army here is huge. There's 700,000 in total. I believe 100,000 roughly are on the front lines, or 50,000 are on the front lines. It's a lot. So I've also been told that drone operators are they're in need. So, for example, a commander might not want to send somebody from the front all the way west to go train in Lviv or to go train in Kiev because it's far away. They're going to be responsible for that soldier, so they don't want that soldier to go out and start partying because he's away from the front and then get in trouble because that comes back. They don't want them necessarily to lose a guy from the front, so they might lose help. So the amount of drone pilots is certainly a factor. And there's certain drone pilots that know how to fly extremely well. They have thousands of hours of practice. And ideally, when I can make a drone like this and we can make a specialty drone, I try to get it in their hands. So, for example, the Gore unit, and the Gore is basically, maybe Oksana, you can explain Gore better than I can, but it's basically our CIA. It's their intelligence. So they have units out there. They are control of some Foreign Legion units. So I do have this one drone to them. Tomorrow, I'm going to give to another drone pilot whom I trust very well. He's actually in the Ukrainian military, but he's actually from Australia. And once these other drones are done, completed, hopefully next week, I'm going to give to a unit that's called the 24th. They're from the 24th Brigade, and they're a special, separate, mechanized unit. So they're a drone unit, and they have hundreds and thousands of hours of practice, and they're very good at what they do. It's actually quite amazing when you see video of these guys, how they actually fly these drones. So incredible. You know, they obviously, if they hover like this, they're going to get shot down. So when they drop munitions on somebody, they have to come in, swoop down real quick, drop munitions super accurately, and then fly away. And they do it very well. So really, we're trying to maximize, my group and I, we're trying to maximize efficiency when it comes to giving these drones away, because any unit will take a drone. And that's another problem we have now, where there's some units that they fundraise really well. They have a really big Twitter presence, and they might have 10 drones, 12 drones, and another unit might only have one drone or no drones. So that's a problem. And other units might have a drone where they just don't have anybody skilled enough to fly them. So these are all issues. And then the last issue I've seen to understand from these guys is, let's just say I give them one drone, and this drone is worth roughly $1,800 US or $2,000. That's a lot of money. And the commander might think, well, we can only use this in certain situations because this is $2,000. I might not get this again for a month, 2 months, or ever. So hopefully we can get enough funding and fundraising for certain units to get 2 a month, 3 a month. And that way I can cover all 3 goals, which is have a drone that can fight against electronic warfare, which is a very big problem. It can carry a lot of munitions, which makes it more effective. And then lastly, I'd like to be able to supply them 1 or 2, some of these units, 2, 3 drones, 4 drones in a month. That way the commander will just say, go ahead, can do as many missions as you can with this because we're getting a steady supply. So I know that was a lot of information and long-winded, but that's in general what we're trying to do in the drone world. And there's a lot of other people here in the drone space, and obviously there's always issues and problems that we're trying to solve. So yeah, that's basically.
Joe, just in the way of background, can you talked about your organization? Can you give us a little idea of who that is and how you got into doing what you're doing?
Sure. Okay. So when I first came, I brought drones because I for my normal life, I guess you could say now, I have a roofing company, and I use these all the time for my business to take pictures of roofs and things like this. So I had heard from other people that they need drones, and I was the type of drone that I use. I said, no problem. I bought one. I raised some money back at home, friends and family. So I bought about 4 or 5, and I came over, and I knew that I went back home in April, and I knew that I wanted to come back and help. So I came back in May, and while in May, I met up with, there's an NGO, and basically an NGO is a non-government organization. They're a 503(c), and basically, so it's a tax write-off for US residents, and B, all the money is audited, and so we have to do what we say we're doing. And I think that makes donors feel much more comfortable because obviously there are a lot of scams going on, unfortunately, both in Ukraine by Ukrainians and also by foreigners. It's just the way that it is. There's just
Yeah.
people that
In
are
the world, right?
yeah, that's it. That's all you can say. There's just people in the world that they're going to take advantage when they can, and they're doing it. And I also met another gentleman who's an engineer. His company is an engineer, and basically they finance. Well, basically we finance. Who I joined up with him. Basically, drone initiatives to create drones that will be more effective than, let's say, for example, what happens here often is you get, 5 or 6 guys together and they say, okay, let's go build a drone. We'll make it from homemade, which is all great. But a lot of times they have a shoestring budget, basically, is they might have $1,200. So is that drone? Yeah, they got a drone, but is it quality? Probably not. Is it better than nothing? Probably. But we want to make it so these drones are much better in quality. Now with this group, they do have British intelligence. So the bigger goal for this British group, outside of the NGO that I spoke about, they do eventually want to be able to go to the British government and say, look, these drones are being used in Ukraine. They're very effective. We have video. We have people that have been used on the front. We have Ukrainian intelligence units saying this is very good and effective. We have mechanized drone units saying this is a very effective drone, and so forth. And then that way, the British government can say, okay, this is what they need. We can make a lot of these and then deliver them to Ukraine on a much larger basis. Because once Ukraine has won, and they will win, it's just going to be a matter of time. Unfortunately, it's just Russia has a lot of people, which is a problem. They're going to have to start thinking about the future, really, like how can they defend themselves if, God forbid, this ever happens again, but they're going to need every technical advantage out there. And in speaking with all the frontline soldiers, Ukraine does have better tactical advantages than Russia in general. The morale is much better in general. But obviously Russia has quantity, and that's how they can kind of even the playing field, really.
And so you operate as part of this NGO now?
Yes. Yeah, because they wanted, just recently, they were able to give military aid, non-lethal. Even though technically, wink, wink, you can make it lethal, these drones, they don't come with bombs, or they're not kamikaze drones. So they wanted to get into the drone space, and there was a certain NGO here that was really, really big. And he didn't make a lot of money, but his organization was given a lot of money. And he really did do a lot for Ukraine, but it turned out that he had lied about military service. And because of that, he lost a lot of donors because, they didn't trust him after that. And yeah, there is a dark side to volunteering here, believe it or not. There's definitely people who do really good things, but they also have ulterior motives as well. It's just the way that it works. But
well, I don't want to take too much of time, but at some point, the details of that NGO and how to donate would be great.
Yeah, sure. And like I said, you don't even have to donate towards drones. They do a lot of humanitarian work. I know there's a lot of people who they don't consciously want to donate to something that's going to go to war, and I understand it. They'd rather give something to humanitarian aid. Trust me, I have mental struggles with that myself a little bit, but it's necessary. It's very, very necessary. And as far as what we can do as civilians, this is definitely the way to help out these initiatives, people that are trying to innovate on the front line. That's definitely, right now, that's going to help drive the course of the war for sure.
Wow. Okay, that was wonderful. Thank you for a wonderful speech. So if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask. And meanwhile, I will remind that at the end of this class, we will take the raffle results, and this prize you see over there, yeah, that will go to the winner of the raffle. So with this raffle, we are trying to support Joe's initiative, and I will transfer all donations to the charity organization we are talking about.
Yeah, I will also start raffling. I also have, these are really big here. They call them chevrons. In English, we say patches, but chevrons from the Ukrainian military that were given to me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So these are some really cool ones. Some of these are from the special forces, and I will also throw these in for charity as well. So I hate to see them go. I love them all. I really do. I wish I could keep them all, but for charity, it's got to be done.
Wonderful. Yes. Chris.
Yeah, just to echo what Charlie said, you know, put the details of the NGO or whatever,
Sure.
And we'll, you know, I'm sure we'd like to give more for, particularly in return for patches or whatever. That's great. So please do that. A question about when you go to these frontline teams, I suppose, related to this group. Do you speak Ukrainian to them, or do you have an interpreter? Or...
No, yeah, my Ukrainian isn't good enough to have fluent conversations yet. Unfortunately, I wish. I study every day. Even here in Ukraine, it's very tough. You know, it's a very, very tough language. They'll speak very fast.
You're preaching to the converted. We're all trying to learn it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not easy. I'm still working on the alphabet, dude. You know.
Yeah, you got a long way to go then. Realistically, for me to be fluent, I think it'll take, you know, at my current pace, probably another year and a half, year at least. It's just, there's nothing similar, as you guys know, to English. So I'm starting to understand more and more words. I'm starting to read it much better. Sometimes I can understand a conversation. Sometimes, always when I'm ordering something, I'll always speak Ukrainian. A lot of the, for example, if I go to a shop around here, like I don't live in a touristy area. So if I go to a shop and order food or something, I have to speak Ukrainian. Or for a much older person, like if I'm going to you know, a mart or something, those people will not speak English. So I can do that effectively. So that's no problem.
Where are you at the moment?
I'm in Kiev. So yeah, welcome to
Kiev.
Kiev. Yeah. So here's my apartment complex. It's very beautiful here. Very, very beautiful. I like Kiev a lot. And the soldiers, honestly, none of them speak English at all. And a lot of the times out east, they speak Russian. I know some people might be surprised by that. In Kiev, they speak Russian quite frequently. Sometimes there's even a mix of Ukrainian and Russian. The only place that I know of, at least, and obviously Oksana would know better, is Lviv, and out west is they will only speak purely Ukrainian. They have a different accent, and I noticed for example, they don't say budlaska as much as they do here in Kiev. They'll use kremproshu. So there's like to me, Lviv has a much different vibe, much different atmosphere for sure than Kiev or further east. But yeah, when I speak with them, I will have somebody who can help me translate. Sometimes they have somebody who can speak English, but yeah, that can be a problem, the language barrier, for sure.
Wow, wonderful. And what other places you'd like to visit or you have visited that you are inspired also?
You know, there's a lot of young kids here in Kiev that, you know, like hundreds of kids that I've seen like almost every weekend. They volunteer their time. These are Ukrainian kids with jobs at school, and that's very inspiring to see. There's actually no English translation, but they call it a toloka, and it comes from a Russian word from the Soviet times where once a week excuse me, once a week, the villagers would come and just everybody would clean the city or the town, the village. And so we have a Toloka basically every weekend where we go and we just clean up Irpin, Hostomel, and it's really inspiring to see a lot of young kids do this and to see a lot of young kids like start to really care about their country and be patriotic, raise money, donate a lot of money. It's that's very inspiring. I was in Kramatorsk, which was about 10 kilometers from the front line. And that was interesting because, you saw how those people who couldn't leave or just don't have the means to leave such an area, how they're living. And that was very interesting. It's kind of funny. There's like a running joke in Ukraine, basically. If you're from out east, you think basically people from Kiev are wimps. And if you're from Kiev, you think people from Lviv are wimps because it's obviously the more east you go, the more danger you have, you potentially face. Yeah, there's a lot of the kids that I know, Ukrainians, they've kind of, there's like a meme that goes around this year and they kind of laugh about it. So it was interesting to see that. I was able to see Kharkiv for a day. And I would like to go see the Carpathy Mountains.
Oh yeah.
Heard nothing but great things. And basically, yeah, I'd like to see as much as Ukraine as possible while I'm here because it is a very beautiful country, very awesome culture. If you, I definitely recommend visiting. Maybe you wait till victory. I know a lot of people are going to do that. But I just being in Lviv and Kiev, I think a lot of people, especially foreigners and Americans, would really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll second that. I had a great time. I mean, I've been to Lviv 6 times now, I think. And I've been to the Carpathians a few times too. And the Carpathians will take your breath away. They are just beautiful, beautiful mountains. So, and Lviv was, considering there's a war on, life is pretty normal in Lviv. At least last week it was. So,
yeah,
I'm not supposed to encourage people to go, but if you want to go, go.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's a lot of volunteer stuff that you can do in Lviv. You can cook food for the soldiers. You can make nets, camouflage nets for the soldiers. There's really you can donate to orphanages. You can go to orphanages. There's really a ton of things you can do, and the safety I would say is quite good. I mean obviously nothing's 100%, but personally, I feel safe in Lviv. Even Kiev, people here they kind of live a normal life now as much as possible. Out east, it's you're going to hear much more explosions. It's definitely more scary, and the mood is not quite the same. But nonetheless, it's kind of what Ukraine has to deal with at the moment. And the people there, if they don't have the means to travel west, I mean, they're kind of stuck there. And it's very sad, but they're very, very tough, very, very tough because they do it and seemingly without a problem.
The cleanup things that you do, is that B50? So there was an organization called B50, I think, to do cleanups in Irpin and Hostomel.
No, and there's probably a couple. There's Dubyk. There's another one called, I forget the name, but a friend of mine just went with them. And the one I go is called Brave to Rebuild, Smilivi Vidlu Vuvati.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there were still the rave rebuild sessions. Yeah, sounds like there is.
Yeah, yep. And it's really nice. And there's a lot of people doing a lot of work. And I mean, if you go to Bucha right now and you can see the before and after pictures, it's really quite incredible. Right now, there's a bridge that they just pretty much rebuilt that was completely blown up. And I think the Ukrainians themselves blew it up because for strategic reasons. But yeah, they're working on an incredible pace, rebuilding. And yeah, it's really incredible. They're just any adversity Ukraine faces, they seem to really take it in stride. And to me, that's the most inspiring. You know, when you see kids upset about hearing bombs and things like this, you know, that makes you want to help out the most. When you see, for example, in Kherson, I have friends now, and you probably don't hear this on the news, but um, they're Russians are actively shooting at they're shooting at people trying to evacuate animals and people. They're purposely sending drones over, and if they spot you, they're going to send a missile artillery shell at you. They have snipers in the left bank, and that are constantly moving positions that are firing on civilians. So when you hear that and you see that, and it definitely just makes you want to keep fighting. And the sadness about being involved with, you know, the military equipment that is obviously going to be used for war, it makes you not feel as bad, because the stories that you hear from, you know, a lot of volunteers and a lot of Ukrainians, it'll make your stomach like completely sick.
And how it was last month in Kyiv? The May, yeah.
May was bad. Yeah, May was bad. I mean, we were getting missiles shot at us every day. Every single day. Every night I would wake up like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and then you would hear the air defense did a phenomenal job. I think only one person died. Like, it's unfortunate, but when you see how many drones that Russia sent and how many missiles they sent, it's pretty incredible that you know, the amount of damage that they didn't do. But yeah, it was every morning, like early in the morning, just you would wake up and just hear like boom, boom, boom. And even one day they attacked during the day. And I'll just give you an example of just how like tough Ukrainians are. There was a woman sitting next to me at the cafe, and maybe 25, maybe 30, somewhere in this range. And I look up and I look at the sky and I see missiles flying, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And you know, I kind of tap her and I say, hey, Rocketta, Rocketta, and she doesn't move. She just keeps on working and working like nothing happened. And you know, so they really, it doesn't bother them anymore. For me, I was a little bit more scared, you know, because look, you know, those were drones, those were rockets. They're definitely aimed at us, trying to kill you. So I went to a little bit safer spot. Yeah, that was pretty bad. They still send a lot of stuff. I haven't been waking up at night anymore, so I don't know if that's just I'm getting used to the sound probably, but they're not as loud.
Wow. Okay.
I'm really impressed by what you're doing, Joe, there, and I can imagine that it's really impressive to see the toughness of the Ukrainians. I can imagine. Yeah, and no dilemma around military equipment, because they need to win, don't they?
Yep.
It's realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I look at it. They need to win for sure. We need and I wasn't born in the 70s, but an older gentleman he's 65 from Germany, and he's doing some really amazing work here. He drove his truck all the way from Germany to here with all of his tools, and he helps do a lot of rebuilding here. And he was in Kherson the past week or so, helping rebuild. And he said the vibe here, the atmosphere here, he said it's like the 70s to him. Just how everybody was just kind of together. And he says he hasn't felt it since then. So yeah, that's how I would kind of I can't describe it like that, but I would say if you remember in 9/11, when we had 9/11 and everybody kind of came together for that, you know, a week or two, there was just a different air in the atmosphere. I would say that's what it's like here for sure.
Yeah, that's the beauty of things as well. Yeah.
You're doing
Yeah.
an amazing job here, being on the front lines for all of us in the rest of Europe and the United States here. My wife is of Lithuanian heritage from 100 years ago, but I know that one of our friends said that her cousin in Lithuania had an escape bag ready for when Putin might invade there. So what you're doing is just incredible to us. That's why I'm supporting it.
Thanks, it's much appreciated. To be honest with you, I feel lucky that I'm able to be here. It's a pleasure to be here. I don't feel like I'm doing anything special, other than trying to just do what I can. There's a lot of really great people here in Ukraine. I've had a lot of really good experiences with people. There was one time it was curfew. There's a curfew here. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the curfew is at 12 o'clock. At the time, it was at 11 o'clock, I believe. And it was harder for me to get a cab. And I was hanging out with some of my friends who I volunteer with. And I couldn't get a cab. And I was like, I was kind of cursing in American. And he looked over. He didn't speak any English. And we got to talking. And he's like, what's the problem? And I said, I'm trying to order a cab, but I can't. He said, oh, I have a cab coming. And don't worry about it. And he said, what are you doing here? And I told him what I was doing with the drones. And he said, oh, that's amazing. And he just bought me my cab, and we went together to my destination. And just things like that, happens a lot. Just a lot of very friendly people here.
Well, you say you don't do anything special, but what you do mentally, psychologically for the Ukrainians is really important, I guess. But I think Oksana can testify to that one. It makes such a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, that's very impressive to me in particular, and to my friends also, that there are such people from all around the globe, and Joe in particular, and many others of you, like everyone, like basically everyone here, we are all connected, and we are helping and support Ukraine because we understand the cost that's all about of Ukrainian lives of defenders. So.
And Oksana, you're bringing people together, which is very important too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great that we have a possibility to have this talk, to exchange our opinions, and be united in that way. So that's wonderful. Maybe we are not that fluent in Ukrainian, but that's more about the culture and being united, I believe.
We're fluent in solidarity.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. Another wisdom that we have in here, that when we donate to the military, in that way we donate to our lives, because that's for fighting for lives, for Ukrainians to be alive and healthy, and all other humanitarian help, that's all that this could be named charity. Charity is to help to different orphans, cats, dogs, and so on. But donating to military is essential part of the fight.
How are they doing with medical supplies though? That's kind of what I was helping to support.
Yeah, medical supply.
If you want to donate to medical supplies, that's a good one as well. We really need tourniquets because there's been a problem with fake tourniquets. Unfortunately, which has cost people their lives. But there's a lot of good organizations out there that they're trying to keep up with supply. But we definitely need tourniquets, like as many as possible. Those save lives, a lot of lives. Unfortunately, a lot of people have died for reasons like that. They could have been saved. And tourniquets is definitely one of those things that we need. Unfortunately, medical training, like guys are getting sent to the front without medical training. So we need volunteers to help out in that realm. It's just a problem. It really is. It's just listen, Russia can do things that politically they can survive politically, right? They don't have elections. Putin is a dictator. He can do a lot of things that are horrendous. And one of the things he can do is just quick like that, mobilize tons of people. They've been building up an army for a long time. They've been making ammunition for a long time. They've been making artillery shells for a long time. I would say every soldier tells me that every 20 seconds they're going to hear all day, all night artillery. They're not going to run out anytime soon. And unfortunately, the Ukraine doesn't have the amount of people, and we have to rely on a technological technological edge. We have to rely on just a better morale, just everybody coming together. Russia doesn't have to rely on that, and I'll tell you a story. I was with the Foreign Legion the other day, and do you know why Russia doesn't need tourniquets? Because they were in a firefight, and during the battle, about 20 or so Russians congregated in the same spot. And luckily, with it, they were able to hit them with an artillery shell, and 3/4 of the Russians got wounded. Now, in Ukraine, they would try like hell to help out their wounded soldiers and get them evacuated and such thing. Russia's commander just went and shot everyone, just shot them all dead because they were wounded. They weren't going to help them. They were going to be a hindrance. They didn't need them anymore. So when you're fighting something like this, you really need everybody to come together.
Tell us about your last fundraiser for Da Vinci Wolves.
Yeah, it went really well. It went really well. So like I said before, to maximize efficiency, I have to get these drones to specialized units that have very good drone units, very good drone operators, drone pilots. And I was able to raise pretty quickly. And another reason why I joined Renegade Relief Runners, I'll show you this is Art Patch, Renegade Relief Runners, and they have a pretty good donor. That they have a lot of donors, people who actively donate. So they were able to raise money with me pretty quickly. And then so now we're building. Next week we should have hopefully 6 more drones. They're getting built now. Hopefully they're made in Ukraine, and hopefully we can test them pretty quickly and then start delivering them to the front. So really that's how the one way I can see how I can help. I'm hoping to get if you're lucky, you can find a donor who is very, 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 very wealthy, and they might give you a heavy 6-figure donor or a heavy six-figure donation, which would help a lot. But yeah, my end goal is to be able to give a couple of these really good drone units, a couple of units a month to, like I said, to help maximize efficiency from the commander, maximize efficiency by getting the drone into the person who's going to use it the best.
Is there any do people do training for some of these units? You say
have to
Do you get involved in that at all, or is that not quite?
No, that's going to be all with Ukraine Army takes care of that. There's a training center in Lviv, and then there's a training center in Kiev here. We have electronic
just for the drones. Is this just?
Yes. Yeah, and it's like a month-long course. It's not like a 2 or 3 day thing. It's very there's a lot of practicing, a lot of simulations. Well, like I said, it's a bit of a problem. We have a drone shortage right now in terms of people who are able to do it, and it's just unfortunate. But they're going to have to send a guy from the front lines to Kiev, and a lot of commanders just don't want to do that. So yeah, there's problems. Obviously, it's a war, and with the second largest army in the world, and everyone's trying to do what they can to solve all the problems, and hopefully things get worked out. But yeah, that's right now. That's kind of the issue.
And do you know the approximate amount of drones that that was fundraised with your help?
In total, like since I've been here,
Mhm.
so I bought 4, right? Yep, I bought 4, and then I bought another one 5, and then when I came, I bought 2 more 7, and then 3 more 10, 3 more 10, so 6, 11. And then we brought 3 more, and then 2 more or 3 more 6, 17, 18. Tomorrow will be 19. So hopefully it'll be a total of about 25 in about a week or so.
Mhm.
Wow.
I remember your story from Instagram when was the last time you came to Ukraine. There was a whole package, yeah, the whole suitcase packed of those
Yeah.
drones. That was impressive.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was good because those units went to luckily that's how I met the 24th, and the 24th they took one of my Mavics and they put a dropper on it, and they're very effective, this unit. So yeah, and I'm glad I got to know them. The one guy I know, he speaks English, so he helps me out, and hopefully, we can continue, helping each other out and making better drones.
So am I right in understanding that you collect the civil drones and that they then build a dropper underneath? Is that it? Or
So the drone that I'm building is not a civilian, not a commercial drone. I did take the Mavic 3 when I came, the last couple times I came, but the biggest problem with the Mavic 3 is it's very easy to defeat with electronic
100%.
warfare.
Yeah.
So guys, I mean, look, I got one when I came back, when I returned in May, I bought one, and then within 2 days it was lost in back route. Secondly, most of these guys are using the Mavics just for surveillance. So they'll help them direct artillery fire, for example. Or, right now the grass is really long here in Ukraine, and even more so before because it was wet and it was sunny and it was springtime. So the Russians will crawl towards the Ukrainian units, and the only way they can see them is just with a drone. Now, if the drone team is lucky enough to get enough Mavics where they can say, "Hey, we can put a dropper on this," then they do it. So now we created a drone here in Ukraine, which a lot of people are doing now. And with this particular drone is very effective against electronic warfare, and it's also more effective because it can carry 3.5 kilograms, which can actually damage heavy equipment as well. Which if you have a Mavic and you put a drop unit, a drop attachment on it, you can only do about 1 kilogram. So like 300 more percent of being able to drop, which is really good.
wow. Yeah, I really like your thinking around getting them a continuity in supply.
Yeah.
That's really good thinking also around it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's just what this is frontline soldiers telling me what the problem is and uh how I can solve it. And I think this the she told me, so actually an American woman who I spoke to yesterday, she's fighting on the front lines, and she told me 3 things. The first, I already said all 3. But number 1 was electronic warfare, right? That's a big problem. They have to defeat it. She thinks right now electronic warfare is going to be the next big thing, the next big discovery that Ukraine is going to be able to do. Hopefully, there's actually electronic warfare lab in Kharkiv, and in Kharkiv they're working on such things. And the second thing is obviously there's not a lot of drone pilots who are talented enough to fly the drones that I create. Um, and then lastly, it's just, the commander has to be able to say, you can tell the drone pilot to, hey, keep sending this thing out. If the commander thinks they're only going to have 1 or 2 in
Yeah.
then they're just not going to do it.
You get overcautious, don't you? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, they're going to baby it. They're going to baby
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, they're gonna baby it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, there's the other problem they're having is, disparity issues. So if some units are very good at fundraising, they'll get 20 drones, and next unit they get 2. So it's very decentralized right now in the military. It's been decentralized. That's kind of how it's been. I'm sure they're trying to correct it. They're trying to figure it out, but you know, I can't help them with that. Obviously, I don't even know which units are getting too much and which units are getting too little. That's operational security, so I wouldn't know that. They wouldn't tell me that. I just know that it happens. What I do know right now to help out the most within my power is to make a specialized drone and give it to the specialized units that can really maximize it.
Wonderful.
And you really need some coordination, don't you, somewhere to
Yeah.
get supplies even. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I said, there's 700,000 troops in total, so it's a lot of people. And a lot of these folks were just mobilized, not that long ago. So it's really hard to get everything organized and it's coordinated. So yeah, it's just unfortunately it is what it is. It's the second largest army in the world, and Ukraine wasn't expected to survive for 3 days, and they're here fighting, and this is what the situation we're given. So, and the problems that we have to solve. So, and I think this is the best way, at least from my perspective, in order to do it.
Yeah, great. Mm.
Well, thank you, Joe. I got to get back to work here, but thank you, Joe, very much. We actually make jet engines for drones, but unfortunately, it's for the American military, so we can't.
Yeah, we would love to have the American
Jet drones.
drones. Yeah,
But we'll have to work on that.
yeah, for
Nigel,
sure.
congratulations on your Ukrainian themed workshop there. Nice
Yeah.
job with the colors.
Okay, thank you very much, and Oksana for bringing this all together. Appreciate it. Bye. Till next time. Next time.
Thank you for being here, and yeah, goodbye. Okay, so here we come to the end of the meeting, but first, yeah, before we finish, let's have a look at the at our raffle. I will show you closer this wonderful. Can you see well? That's a huge one. So, but it's less than 2 kilos, so I can send it with no problem. So let's have a look at our raffle. Here it is. Yeah, we have 6 participants, and in total we have fundraised $226. And let's go to randomizer, random org, and we have 1 to 6. Oh, sorry, not that. We have to go to numbers. No. Random. I don't use that a lot.
I'm old school, but you could just roll a dice,
Yeah. So we have 1 to 6. Yeah. Let's have a look who is our winner. 1 to 6, and the winner is number 1. Da 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 da. Chris. Wonderful. You will have your HIMARS 3D model. Super.
Wow, thank you. That's brilliant.
Number 1. Mm-hmm.
I was thinking normally the first one doesn't usually get picked. It's normally someone in the middle, but yeah.
And then Oksana, can you roll it one more time? I want to throw in, this is a military patch from the Ukrainian military.
Wow. Okay. So 1 to 6. Yeah. Let's generate.
And it's broken.
Is this broken?
No, it cannot be broken. Let's me 1 to 6.
Yes, again.
Okay.
Hit it again, hit it again.
Wait, I can make it issue one. I actually have a thing, a random generator.
I have no idea. Okay,
That is
I-
brilliant.
I'll make one real
Yeah,
quick. I have
JavaScript
one.
error or something there, yeah.
I have I have an app. I will okay, it's called Spin the Wheel. I just used it the other day. It works quite well. So add new, colorful. The wheel title will be Chevron. Okay. Slice style. Okay. Text size 18. Slices. Here we go. New slice. Okay, so we have Chris.
we have 6. Yeah, we have 6 participants: Chris, Claire, Kate, Fiona, Janet, and Robert.
Chris, Claire,
Claire, Kate,
Kate,
Fiona,
Fiona,
Janet, and Robert.
Janet, and Roberts. Okay, great. Let me just delete the rest of it and we'll be good to go. See, how do I get rid of this one? Delete. Got it. Okay, so delete. And let me see if I can share my screen. Delete. Now, do we want to run it again, the both of them, since it wasn't really working
No, the
proper?
first
Yeah,
one.
no, yeah. Do them both again. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let me share my screen. If I can do this, share screen. Can everyone see my screen?
We lost your video,
No.
but it's black.
Okay, let's try again. So web URL, camera, share whiteboard, Google Drive. Try this again.
Nope.
Nope.
No?
Joe, we'll trust you, man. We'll
Okay,
we don't need
Yeah.
to see your screen. We
okay,
trust
okay. Okay. Let me try. Okay, here we go. Spin. Can you guys hear that?
you. No.
We don't see. So you just tell us.
Fiona. Fiona.
Oh, Fiona. So
Fiona, okay.
So Fiona will get that stamp.
Chevron. Here you go, Fiona. Yep, you get the chevron. This is from a Ukrainian military. Very cool. I forget which brigade it's from. And then
Wonderful.
shall I spin once more?
Oh,
I believe the first, it was not by chance. Even the chat was, even it was broken.
It was.
So it's
broken.
one every time.
Spin again. Spin
Yeah.
again for the time, Ross.
Okay.
We
I
know
kind
our
of hope you
probabilities
win.
here. Yeah.
I hope you win legitimately this time.
I
Chris.
hope he does too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when they read the wrong name at the Oscars, you know.
This one was on Claire.
okay.
Hey.
This
Well,
one was on Claire. Yeah.
that's interesting because you know what I planned to donate it to Chris
Oh, look at that.
because
No,
I
no, no,
thought
no.
they'd like to have it. Yeah,
Everybody wins. I love it.
yeah. So Chris, here you go.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, thank-
I really planned it beforehand. So
Great. That's really cool.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and on my side, I was thinking about getting another one. Yeah, not to disappoint Chris. So Claire, maybe you'd like to have another street model or another puzzle. I will gladly get you one.
that's lovely, but
I
I
will-
don't have
will-
anything. But I like to because I know Chris really would like to have it. Am I right, Chris? I don't know, but
Yes, yeah.
That was my estimation. So I'd really love to give it to him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
It
so
is very cool. It's very, very cool. And it's funny because all the raffles that are in Ukraine, there's always such cool stuff. And I'm like, oh, I want to keep all of them.
I have a house full of crap already that I'm
Yeah.
trying to get rid of because my next step is a coffin. But I would love to give some money to your NGO. So if you get that information to Oksana so that we can.
Yeah, you know what? I'll post it right here in the chat. This is at least this is my drone. It's donorbox.org. This is going to be in the chat. Drones. And then
Oh yeah.
Renegade Relief Runners .org, I believe, or it's .com. And then you can kind of read a lot more about what they do. And they're involved in a lot of humanitarian stuff, which I am not. But I'll tell you, the founders, Chris and Julia, there's another two inspiring people. They do so much for Ukraine. It's crazy. They're always working. They go to places where most NGOs won't go. They've been blown up before by artillery shells. They've literally gave up their entire lives. Chris was an airline pilot in USA, and Julia is from Poland, and they've pretty much dedicated their whole life to Ukraine, and they're really incredible. So
wow.
Fantastic.
yeah, so yeah, yep, that's Renegade Relief Runners. Yep, yeah, so they once Herson happened, they were the first ones to go to Herson very quickly. They raised $30,000 within 6 hours, and I think by now they've given 30 tons of aid already to Herson. So it's pretty
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of good stuff here. Inspiring.
I believe if it's not of these people who support Ukraine, yeah, like you and like your friends, I don't know whether Ukraine will be standing, because it's not about the spirit that Ukrainian people have, but also about everything else, equipment, medical supplies, and so on. So
Yep. And I think I will be staying until victory now. I originally was only going to stay maybe a few months, but now there's no return ticket home. So hopefully I can keep it going.
Fantastic. Good work, Joe.
Good work.
Yeah, appreciate everybody.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
And keep up the Ukrainian. I know it's hard. I know it. There's days I want to quit.
Yeah.
Trust me, there's days I feel like such an idiot because I'm like, wow, I've been studying for 7 months and I have no idea what that person just said. But yeah,
It's worth it just to talk to Oksana once a week, right?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, and Oksana is definitely an inspiration also. She does a lot of volunteer work. She's very selfless. I was able to meet her in Kiev when she came, her family came. Her family's incredible. She has 2 beautiful kids. They were so fun to hang out with, especially her son, because her son's a little older. And you can yeah, he was so much fun. So yeah, it was really a good time. So yeah, like people like Oksana for sure, like it absolutely can it definitely inspiring for sure to keep helping.
oh yeah, my welcoming all of you to Ukraine and to Volodymyr or to Lviv, that always make its place here now or later. I'm always welcome. Not that I always can come to Lviv, yeah, but I would be glad to meet you in Volodymyr for sure, in my city. So that was wonderful. That was very inspirational hour. Thank you, Joe, for sharing with us. That's wonderful.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Joe.
Everything is really appreciated. And then whoever won I guess Oksana, can you get whoever won the Chevron? I can just get their mailing address, and I can send this to them.
Do you have
The
some
address of Fiona.
Yeah,
Fiona, yeah.
yeah, I will get her address and you can send it to her.
Okay, great. And thanks everybody. I really appreciate your time. I'm glad I
Thank
was
you,
able
Joe.
to share some frontline information with you that's currently going on, so that you probably won't hear anywhere else, and you guys can kind of see what's happening and kind of the stuff that we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Thanks,
for,
Joe.
Yeah,
You're an
thanks for
very much.
inspiration.
Thanks, Joe.
Yes,
Thanks,
awesome.
appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon in
Yeah, maybe you will.
in the chats and in Ukraine.